What's going on, guys? I hope you guys have poured yourself a large cup of coffee because only serious coffee drinkers have probably made it this far. In this video, we're going to be making the item room, the shop, the challenge room, the secret room, all of the rooms that you don't see on the map. We're going to be making them all in the same video, and they're all going to be generated using the same method. So let's take a screenshot of this. What we have so far is we have a random map generation, and then the boss room gets generated as the furthest away room. So we take the X, 1, 2 in this case, and then the Y, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 and 2, and we add them together, and whichever room has the highest number is where the boss room gets generated. So this one is the furthest away from the spawning spot. 4, 2. It could also be here, but it goes by the latest generated room and the highest number, so those two factors together. So this one was generated after this one because it's part of the same branch, right? So let me erase everything that I just scribbled all over the map with. And today we just want to make all of the other rooms. So what we want to do is we want to go through each room that's in the list that was generated, and we want to find out if there's rooms that are like spaces next to them that don't have any other rooms touching them. So for example, we don't want to put the item room here because there's a room here, right? So we want to find spots on the map like here and here and here and here. And any of these spots are appropriate. Now we don't want it to be touching anything except for the secret room. The secret room we're going to generate at the end. We might not even do that in this video, but because the secret room, you can blow holes in the walls. So that's not going to be factored in, but all the other rooms, we don't want to put shops next to the item room or anything like that either. And we don't want to put it here because there's the boss room or whatever, right? So we want to go through each room in the room list. So 1, 2, 3, etc. We'll go through the entire list of rooms and we'll check all the slots around the room. And we're just basically looking for holes like here and 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 here. And here, 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 and here. Okay, so I've erased the map, everything that I've written on the map because this is going to get really confusing right now. So everything in this, all these rooms, they're all put in a list called the room list. So if we look at the level script, we have a list of rooms right here, right? So this is our level static class, and we have a list of rooms, right? And all of these rooms that are in the map, they're all put in this list, right? So this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., right? So we don't just want to, because if we do it the way that I'm kind of describing, the item room or whichever room is the first one to spawn will always be here. Now, this is bad because people will be able to know what they're like. If people memorize the map generation, they can know exactly where every single room is going to be, and that is boring. Nobody wants to know exactly where every single room is, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the room list and we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., right? And we're going to scramble this list. So we're going to shuffle the list. So then these numbers are all going to be randomized, right? So instead of having like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it could start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., right? It's going to be completely random. And what it's going to do is it's going to go through the random list and it's going to check all of the spots around each room that it randoms to see if there's a slot. And remember, a slot has to have nothing else around it. So this one would work right here because there's nothing around it. But this won't work because there's a room here, right? So it will basically randomize the list. We have to do this for this or else it's going to be really boring. If the map always generates in the same exact way, it's going to suck. Okay, so this has to be random. It's super important. So we're going to shuffle the list. And then the other thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we don't put it attached to a room that already exists. So for example, we have the boss room. This is added already. We're going to be adding the boss room first before we do anything else because the boss room is the most important room, obviously, because you can't have a level without the boss room. These rooms, they're auxiliary. They don't matter as much as the boss room does, right? But we can't attach the item room or some other room to the boss room. So all of the rooms are going to have a number associated with them. So if you watch the first episode of this map series, you would know that each of these tiles is going to have a room number attached to it. So the room numbers, like these special rooms, are going to be the numbers 1 to 5 or however many special rooms you have. So like it could be 7, it could be 8, it doesn't matter. So like we have the boss room, the treasure room, the secret room, the shop, those are all special rooms, right? And then when you actually pick a number for these rooms, it's going to random between a number above this, so 6 in this case, but it could be more. If you have more special rooms, you don't have to copy this exactly. You could have as many special rooms as you want, right? So if you have more than this will just be one number higher than this, and then it'll be to the number of game objects in your rooms folder. So again, in the first map video, I showed you how it's working, but there could be, like mine has 15 right now in my other project, but there could be hundreds of them. When I'm actually done the game, there'll be hundreds of these, right? So it will pick a random number between 6 and whatever, right? So when we're doing this randomization, one of the checks before we actually check if there's rooms around that room is going to be if the room number is greater than 5 or however many rooms, right? And this will prevent it from spawning around any of the special rooms. This might sound confusing. It might be easier. I'm gonna go through the code, obviously. So when I go through the code, it might make more sense, but this is how this has to work in order for it to actually be random, so that it's not just the same every single time. Okay, so here we are back in the actual script for the game, right? And the first thing we're gonna do is make an int get random room number. So this is gonna return a random room number when the actual project is finished. Right now, we don't have a rooms folder. We don't have any way of like getting how many rooms that they're going to be because we don't actually have that set up in the actual project. That is for a later video. It's probably going to be the next video because I'm going to be generating all the rooms in this video. And then I think the map should probably be done after this video, or it should be close to done after this video. So we don't have that yet. So right now we're just going to return 6 because we know that rooms 1 through 5 are going to be the item room, the boss room, the shop, etc. Right? So right now we're just going to return room 6, but at a later time we are going to change this method and how it actually gets the random room number, and we're going to do that at a later time, like I said. So each time we add a room, we need to give it a room number. Okay, so let's go to the start method where we actually start. If you press Control M and then O, you can shrink all of these methods so that they're not all taking up too much space. Okay, so like this makes it easier to see what method that I'm working on. So Control M and then O without letting go of the control button will shrink all of these methods at once. And we're just going to go to the start method for right now because this is getting really big. So I figured I'd show you exactly where we are. So right now we're creating the start room. The start room is room 0. Okay, so start room dot room number is 0. There's not going to be anything attached to this in terms of like the item room or anything like that. In the Binding of Isaac, you could technically have the item room there. So if you want, you could factor that into the calculation. We're not going to be doing that. We're just going to be putting the item room, not anything below 6 is not going to be part of that. But you could also factor in, like you could make the starting room number 6 if you wanted to, or 5, and then I don't know. Anyway, we're just going to put it as 0 for now. So when we generate these rooms, these are new rooms, right? And we're generating. We want to set the new room that it generates, which is new room in each of these methods. So it checks each direction. And if the number is greater than so there's a random value between 0 and 1. And if the value is greater than the room generation chance, which is 0.5, then it will generate a room, right? So we want to put the new room number equal to random room number. This is the method that we just made. So this will be 6 right now, but in a future video, we're going to make it so that it actually picks a number out of our list of rooms, but we don't have a list of rooms yet. So we can't do that. We're just going to be calling it 6. So we need to copy this new room number into all of these. Okay. And instead of doing this, what you could technically do is if you go into your level script, you could set this. So instead of having current the room number being 0 here, you could just set it to 6 like this. And then by default, the number will be 6. We're going to leave this here because we do want to do this. We want it to be random because like later when we go to edit this again, all we'll have to do is change this method rather than But if we forget to set any of them, then at least it will be 6 in the thing. It doesn't matter. 6 is fine, right? So now that we've set the random room number to 6 for all the other rooms, when we generate the boss room needs to be room number 1. So in the previous video, I set this to room number 3. It's going to be room number 1, not 3. 3 is going to be the item room. Okay, and I actually forgot. So in the start method, these 4 rooms, we don't want them to actually default to room 6, which they will. We want them to random. So random room number for all 4 of these. These are the 4 rooms that are around like the main, like the start room. And they should be actually getting a random room number. Otherwise, they'll all be 6, and 6 is going to be the same room. So that'll be, again, it'll be boring, right? So now we need to make a method for generating a room. So let's actually put this above awake here. So private void generate special room. And then we want to pass in a sprite map icon. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Oh no, we also need to pass in the room number, because when we generate the room, we want to actually add the room number. So it'll just be int room number. Okay, so in this method, this is where we're going to actually add the rooms. So let me just make sure that it's a sprite. Yeah, these are sprites for this. So let's start with the item room. So right below generate boss room, we're going to type in generate special room. And then in the brackets here, we're going to type in level.item treasure room icon. And then like we said earlier, the treasure room is number 3. Okay, so this is how you can shuffle a list of a class. I just copied this from ChatGPT. This is called the Fisher-Yates shuffle algorithm. Okay, so what this will do is it will random between, it will randomize a list. Now we don't want to randomize our actual list because we want that to stay in the order that we initially generated in case we want to like use that order for some reason to preserve like the order. So what we want to do at the beginning of our generate special, by the way, you got to add this. I didn't show this on video, so just type this in, I guess, copy this. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a list of rooms. Oops. And we'll call it shuffled list is equal to new list of room, and then we're just going to put in level.rooms. So what we're doing is we're creating a copy of the list, because if you just set this equal to the level.rooms, it will still overwrite it. You'll just have a reference. So this creates a new list, which is a copy of the list, and we're going to use the copied list, like the shuffled copy list. That's how we're going to be doing this. So then for each of the rooms, in the shuffled list, we want to check everything around it, right? So we want to do the same thing that we did in the boss room. So let's copy paste all of this code at the bottom of this method, generate boss room. This is the same thing, right? So let's copy paste this at the very bottom here. And this at the top. Okay, so we have to get the spot first, but this is how it will generate it. So vector2 special room location is vector2.0. And so everywhere we have farthest room written, let's just go ahead and paste in So this is going to be, so instead of calling this boss room, let's call it special room. And then we just want to find and replace all of the entries where we put boss room. And then the room number is going to be the number that we inputted into the method. So where did our method go? Did I overwrite the entire thing? Oh no, I didn't. I just put this inside of the shuffle list. So take this out of shuffle list and let's put this down here. Okay, and let's declare special room outside of this for each loop because we don't want to declare it multiple times. Okay, so then we need a Boolean value. So we'll type in bool found available location is false. So if we find a special room location, we can set this to true. So if both of these checks return true, then we found the available location, right? And if it doesn't find it, then it needs to go to the next iteration of the loop. So at the very bottom of this, if we found this location, then we'll draw the room on the map. Otherwise, actually, we don't need an otherwise. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through this really slowly so that you guys can understand what's happening. So we're going to be calling generate special room. This is only going to be happening for the item room right now, not for any of the other rooms. We're going to shuffle the list of rooms. Then we're going to create a room with the item room icon. So this should be the map icon that you're putting as the parameter, right? So the map icon, in this case, this is the item room icon. And then the room number should be room number from this. I could have swore I did this, but so we're setting all the information for the room here, but then the location will be set down here. So for each room in the shuffled list, we're going to get the location, and we're setting this value to false. And this could actually be set to false outside of this. We don't need to declare this every single iteration. There's only one of these. So after we find this, it should actually return. So if we draw the room on the map, we don't want it to draw multiple times. So let's put this in curly braces. And after we've drawn the room on the map, we can get out of, so return will exit this entire method. So we only need to draw it once, right? So if we're drawing this on the map, then we can return. Otherwise, we'll keep iterating until it finds an appropriate spot to put it. So if you run this, this should put an item room on the map. Let me just scroll through this. Like if you're copying, I'll just scroll through this really slowly so you can do this. So yeah. Yeah, so you should be able to pause. This is the bottom of the method here that we generated. This is the shuffle list method. So we've only added this and the generate special room method. And then inside of the start method, we call this after we generate the boss room. So we're generating the level treasure room icon. It's going to be room number 3. And so there should be a boss room and providing there's a space for it. If there's no space for it, it won't work. And we're going to get to that at the end. What we'll do is we'll regenerate it if it fails, and we'll just keep regenerating until it actually has enough rooms for it. So let's run this and see what happens. Awesome. So you can see that this put the boss room here and the item room's here. Let's press tab. Now this looks like it dropped the boss room on top of the, let me just run the whole project again. I think pressing tab to regenerate it is not working. Let's just run the whole thing again. Yeah, so this is right. So this is, the boss room is as far away as possible, and the item room is just attached to a random room somewhere. All right, so let's add some more rooms. So we're gonna add all of the other rooms. So doing it like this makes it so that you can add whatever rooms you want to, right? So we've got the treasure room. What about the shop room? The shop room's number 2. And then was there another room that I had? I don't even remember at this point. So we've got the treasure room and the shop room. I don't think I have any other icons in this. So you could add as many icons as you want here, right? You could add as many special rooms as you want, providing like, yeah, you just have to have like icons for them, and you can draw them yourself. Just make sure they're squares, and you can, I went over that in the first video. So let's just run this again and see if it works with multiples. So even when there's one square, it seemed to put all the things that are required. Let's just run this again. That was just bad luck. Okay, so this did it wrong, and it put the shop here. So I'm not sure what the logic was. Let me just run it one more time. Okay, so we don't want to be able to put any of the special rooms next to special rooms that already exist. So let's go back to the generate special room. So the first thing that we need to do is check if the found room is above 6. So if r dot room number is less than 6, then we want to just continue. Continue will just go to the next room. So we don't want to be generating next to the start room. So that's what happened. The start room is generated, and it should check if the room exists first in the new spot. Yeah, so if it's less than 6, we just want to continue. So we don't want any of the special rooms to be generating special rooms beside themselves. So let's just run this again and see what happens. Okay, so that looks better. So these are just in random spots. This map is a little bit too big. It might be better if it was less. Okay, so it doesn't look like it put a start room on this one. All right, so that took longer than I thought it was going to. So the first thing you need to do is in the get key button here, if you've added this was in the first map video, change failsafe to 0. The reason the map stops regenerating after you press tab a couple times is because we have this block. Failsafe, yeah, so when we're generating rooms, if the failsafe number is greater than 50, we return. So this is what was preventing the tab button from working. After you press tab 3 or 4 times, it stopped working because failsafe gets greater than 50. So we need to set failsafe because this prevents you from having an endless loop, right? Because if it starts generating and too many rooms get generated and they keep generating and generating and generating, this should never happen because there's a limit on the number of rooms, like away from the start. The limit is 5. But that either way, to prevent the tab button to stop working, we just need to set failsafe to 0. And then we're going to add another input into these update statements. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. So we're going to so we need to find out why the boss room keeps generating on top of the start room. And I think it's because it's to the left, right? So we want to do we can just use this same Boolean regenerating. This just prevents us from having it where it, yeah, so we'll just do this at the start. So instead of tab, let's do a letter. So we're going to use P. It doesn't matter what letter. And what we want to do is we want to go through the rooms. And we want to do debug.log room number plus r dot room number. And then location. And then this is going to be the r dot location. So for some reason, the boss room is generating on top of the start room, and it seems to be only on the left. So now when we press P, it should give us a list of our rooms. So then we can use that to determine if the logic makes sense, right? So we're going to make another if statement, the exact same as this one, and we're just going to use a different letter, right? So let's hold off on this for now. Let's just click play and see what happens. And then we'll, when it messes up, we can see the room list by pressing P. So let's see. So here, this is correct, right? This is still massive though. This is probably way too big. We want to make it smaller than this. We're going to do that later. We're not going to worry about that right now. So this is correct too. That's correct. Okay, so here it has put the boss room on top of the start room. So the boss farthest room. So if we press P, it should list all the rooms, right? So so all of the rooms that are normal rooms are room 6. Okay, so we have 1 and 0, which is this left one. Oh, the item or the shop room is room number 6. What the hell? Shop room is number 2. Okay, so I have to wonder what happened with this map. Maybe because there's not enough tiles. It broke because there's not enough tiles. No, because it shouldn't. Oh, you know what? It probably generated on top of itself. Because if there's not enough tiles in the generate special room, we're setting this to... there's this for each statement. And it only draws it though if it found the available location. But in this case, it won't have found the available location because it doesn't exist, right? So the rooms, let's ignore the room number for now. So we drew 1 and 0, which is, I'm assuming the start room was supposed to be here, but it just drew the wrong icon. Let me go to the room list for a second. So instead of calling it map tile for the ones that are special rooms, we should call it something else. So that will make it easier to understand what's happening. So in the draw room on map, string tile name is map tile. If room dot room, sorry, r dot room number is 1, then the tile name can be boss room tile. Okay, so instead of putting map tile here, we're just going to put the name of the tile, so that can help us decipher which one is which. And then it put the shop tile on top of the start room. So we don't want that. So that's going to be inside of this generate special rooms. So each room in the shuffled list. So the shuffled list, if the room number is less than 6, it should continue. Okay, are we setting the room number to 0 for the default room? So in the start method, the room number is 0. So when we draw this on the map, the room number is 0, so it shouldn't be putting it there. Okay, so when we draw the rooms on the map, let's put a debug here. So debug.log drawing room plus the room number allocation plus r dot location. Okay, and we just want to press tab until we break it. Now this one is wrong again because the boss room tile can't spawn touching other tiles. So this tile is already here before this spawn. You can see that this spawned last. So let's go here. What tile is this? All right, so I found out the problem. So if we look here at the bottom of both the boss room and the generate special room, you can see that this is -1 in the y-axis, but this is -1 in the x-axis. So they're not matching. So that's why it's doing this. So if we change this to -1 in the y-axis and then in the generate boss room, I just fixed this one, but it's the same thing. This has to be changed to match. And that was the reason it wasn't working. So one of the things, so you might have problems in yours if you're following this. Again, I'm going to be posting this entire project for free after I'm done everything with the map. I changed the P button so that the log is actually logging all in one statement. So I'll show you what this looks like. But if you copy this, it makes it so it's all together rather than being on separate lines. It makes it a lot easier to read. So let me run this so I can show you that it's working. So if you press P at the bottom here, and you click on the room list, you get a nice formatted room list like this. So you can see each room and where it is. And that's how I actually figured out what was wrong. So let's press tab a bunch of times and see if it keeps working. Okay, and sometimes it doesn't draw the shop. So I don't know if you saw that or not, but it didn't draw the shop because there wasn't enough rooms. So now we need to address that problem, and then that's gonna probably be it for today. Okay, so a really easy way we can address this problem is when we're generating the special rooms, we can add a Boolean value here, right? So now this has to return a Boolean value, which is true or false, rather than just returning always. So when this returns, we can return that it succeeded in drawing. And if it gets to the end of this for each loop, and it didn't draw this on the map, we can return false. So this means this failed, right? So then what we need to do is we need to record the results. So bool treasure is this, and bool shop is this. And then if not treasure, oh my God, or not shop. So if either of these fail, we want to regenerate. Again, we want to just do the regenerate. So in this method, the update method, we have it so where we press tab and it regenerates the map. So what we want to do is we want to take this, all the code that's inside of this method here, and we're just going to make a method out of it. So we'll call this regenerate. So then we can call that when we press tab. And then if either of these fail, we can call regenerate. Okay, so if this is working correctly, this should regenerate. So anytime there's not enough rooms or to generate like the shop room or the treasure room, or it doesn't generate them for some reason, like if either of these don't return true, then this will happen. So you can put as many rooms as you want to here. You could make a cursed room, a challenge room, a sacrifice room, and you could put as many as you want there, right? Like you could put infinitely many, and you just have to adjust like the number and like the icon, right? And you would just have to add a Boolean value for each of them to check if they successfully drew. And now the more you add, the bigger the map will have to be for them to actually get generated. So there has to be enough spots on the map for it to work, right? So, but I think like you could probably have up to like 15 in here and like regenerate. I would probably put a limit on this. So instead of just having it regenerating no matter what, I would have it up to like 10 times. If it doesn't succeed in 10 times, it will like, it's not going to ever succeed and your game will crash. But anyway, let's just run it and see what happens. I'm just going to save this because it could crash the game now. All right, so we should find that no matter what, there's always the ability, like it's always going to work now. So I'm just going to hold in the tab button and it'll just generate forever. So if we wanted to add another image, let me just add another image to this. Hang on. So I just recently added the secret room to my game, right? And let me just call this secret room. And we'll just change it to a sprite and press apply. And then if we go to the code at the very beginning, we just have to add this to the script. So public sprite secret room. And then in the level, we would just have to add a sprite for it. And then in the, remember Control MO to minimize everything. So then in the awake method, we would want to set level dot secret room equal to secret room. And then inside of the start method, right after we're done this, we can just generate a secret room. We'll put it as number 4 and we'll use the icon level.secret room. And we'll just call this secret. And then you could just add an or not secret. And then if you run this again, you should see that it generates the secret room too. Okay, so this isn't how the secret room works in the Binding of Isaac. Obviously, this also doesn't cover exploration. So like when we started here, right, we have to we should only be able to see this tile right now. We shouldn't be able to see the entire map, but just for the generation purposes, we need to be able to see the entire map. So the secret room should be spawned in between rooms or something like that. We're going to cover that in a different video. The secret room, like it would be more appropriate to add the challenge room or the sacrifice room or something else other than this, but I just have the icon for the secret room. That's why I'm adding it, to show you that you could just add whatever room you want to in this exact same method with only a couple lines of code, and you could just keep adding as many rooms as you want to that are special, right? So I'm just gonna hold tab for a little bit and you can see that this will be like you can just generate maps like this forever and it will always work. So that's going to be it for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This took quite a bit of time to actually make this video because I had to fix so many things, but this is such a great way of doing a map generation. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like the video and subscribe. And I'm probably going to be posting, I'm not going to be posting the this code yet, but in the next video, it will be in the description of the video for you to download. So if you got stuck on this video, don't worry, it will be available to download, but I just have to, it's going to be part of the next video that I upload.